So I'm doing this on a Saab 9.3, so I'm going to remove the battery, but if you have a Cobalt or HHL, you're going to want to take the fuse box apart and take that out to gain access to the top of the transmission. If you have a 9.3, you got to remove that hood sensor connector and then take the leads off the battery. And then there's a battery hold down bolt that's 13 millimeter that you got to take off here in a second. There's 3 Torx bolts that you got to take off to get the battery to take off. Push down on this little lever here to lift that fuse panel off of the battery box, and then remove that. Push it to the side so you can get the battery box out. Then use a screwdriver to pop off the shift cables from the shifter arm. I have a 4H Tech short shifter, but yours will probably just look like a regular stock silver shifter. And use a small screwdriver to start prying up on the cable end bushing. Kind of get up underneath there. Then I switched to a bigger screwdriver to finish basically breaking off the top half of the factory bushing. Be careful when you're doing this. Definitely hold the shifter cable in your hand, and while you're prying, not to bend the shift cable too much or put too much pressure on it. Also, be careful not to stab your hand with the screwdriver because that hurts. So this is what the bushing looks like when you get it off the cable. There's like a rubber piece in there, and then there's this little yellow cup inside. And that's the part that we want to get out and save so that we can put it in the new bushings. This is what the cup looks like once you cut it out. Be really careful not to damage it when you're trying to cut apart the factory bushing and get it out of there. Just be gentle and take your time cutting it apart. I used just those side cutters there. Then you just unscrew the bushing that they give you, put the cup in there, and then obviously you would put the factory cable in between there and then just thread it together like this. I had to lubricate the bigger end of the bushing to get it to slide into the cable, but it's a tight fit, so obviously that's a good thing. So it's gonna, take up all the slop in the factory bushing that there would be. Basically just put it in there, put the cup in there, and then just thread it together. I also put some red Loctite on mine, just to make sure that it would never come apart. Then use an adjustable wrench and an Allen wrench so you can snug up the bushings. You don't have to go too crazy because I think they pretty much bottom out on each other, but just snug them up, make sure they're tight so they won't come apart. Then I like to lubricate all my shifter parts with this like white lithium grease. Put some of that in the sockets and on the shifter arm parts itself, all the moving stuff. There might be something better, but this is what I use. Then just pop it together like it was from the factory, and you got new cable bushings, and it'll take up all the slop that there was from the factory. Sweet.